Thank you so much for joining us today, Manish.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We have a very interesting fireside chat scheduled here. I want to begin our conversation by first understanding Panasonic's idea and strategy of investing into retail tech to sort of enhance your customers' experience.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly give you the backdrop of where we are coming in from, and I'm sure many people know that our roots are there into Japan. And we started off in 1918, and we have existed for more than 105 years in Japan. And the core purpose of our existence, defined in the form of basic business philosophy, is that we'll devote ourselves for the progress and development of society and well-being of people through our business activities. Now, what has happened organically over 105 years is that Panasonic has started to do almost everything in every space in the entire value chain, uh, specifically in Japan. And when you talk about this value chain or say the supply chain itself, not many would know that. And quite often, the reason of our visibility or identity is attributed to the consumer products which we deal with. And for reference of everyone, on a scale of about a potential 12,000 crores of top line, consumer business would be just about 30% of the top line. And we would do a lot of products in the entire supply chain: manufacturing solutions, smart factory solutions, logistics, cold chain solutions, including the retail solutions. And within retail, setting the context, coming in from your question, I believe, as I said, organically, as the need arose in the years gone by, we started to innovate a lot of things. And some of the reasons can be the challenges to continue to maintain the trust of consumers, specifically when digital convergence has started to happen in last 30 odd years. Uh, a tangible tactical challenge can be that are brands able to maintain loyalty of consumers by maintaining consistency and parity of pricing across both the mediums in the digital and the physical space. And I'll give you a very small example. Like of the total retail, which is reasonably balanced now because organized retail is also taking up and conventional retail still contributes 35% of the top line in the consumer durable space. E-commerce is rapidly growing. One of the challenges that how do we bring in data points in real time, including say pricing also, and with a potential 15% of sale coming in from our exclusive channel. A very small example is that through electronic shelf labels, which the hardware we provide and the platform which centrally lets brands manage, propagating and positioning their pricing across all their retail stores in the country, which can be controlled centrally. We are able to simultaneously bring that data back and create comparison consistently on real time with the pricing of all the SKUs, which might be thousands in numbers in the e-commerce space. And this is a huge solution for a problem which otherwise will take a lot of manual effort. This is one example. And second is that today retailers are looking at holistic solutions, a one-stop shop for their entire need. And I may not be in a position to take names here, but a lot of leading retailers in the automotive space, into fast-moving consumer goods space. So we do air conditioners to CCTV cameras to POS systems. In one of the leading QSRs, if you take a note, the POS on which the billing happens is a Panasonic product. So how do you integrate all these products together to create a seamless experience both for the retailer and also for the consumers? I think that there the opportunity is.
Okay. Well, that was very detailed and super insightful. A lot of threads there. There is when we look at retail tech as a whole topic, one common trend has been that retailers are very actively investing in technology, especially which has picked up post COVID. How do you measure the ROI of your investment? And if you can measure, I mean, what are the
I'm not
metrics?
very sure that this challenge is being understood. Of course, everything is capex, so one should always understand the return on investment. It's important. But again, I would give you a very small example. Like when you look at an automotive showroom, you require a lot of space, and say consumer expects a large variety of products to be on display for them to be able to make their purchasing decisions. And imagine a simulator which creates equivalent, if not same, but equivalent experience for people where they can simulate their vehicle, by a touch operating monitor, which is large enough for them to have a good feel, a 360-degree view of the vehicle, and a platform where they can then bring that data back on their own device and subsequently, make comparisons and study with other brands which are also available. I mean, it's it's a fantastic ROI to look at the kind of space which you save, the kind of consumer experience and the trust which you build. And the other example which I gave you of the data simultaneously coming in into central. So imagine you are changing paper to change the pricing as and when it changes, and imagining taking that control centrally from a location through electronic shelf labels. I mean, this is huge empowerment and significant return on investment. So those are tangible things, tangible values. You know, the logic of return on investment comes where it is large capex and the value is not clear, and you're doing it for the sake of doing it. So that's why I think in this space, there is a lot of tangible value and a huge rub off in terms of providing a better consumer experience, which obviously leads to loyalty and a parity between both the digital and the physical space.
Right. Manish, in addition to India, you look at the South Asian market for Panasonic as well. If you can share maybe some learnings from, from the South Asian market for India or vice versa.
Uh, Plenty lot of differences, I would say. Consumer has evolved in a very different manner, and I was lucky to be experiencing the journey of a consumer who was reasonably elderly in Japan once. This was about 13, 14 years before. And I got interested while noticing this guy who was in a retail store, and there are large format retail stores spread across multiple floors. And Indian consumer in the physical space, quite often, at least people in my age, are little shy. If a promoter approaches you, you quite often get repelled. That is not the case in matured economies. And there I noticed that one was taking a note, collecting catalogs and going through details, talking to the in-shop promoter, taking notes in the diary, which now would happen in the digital space through comparators, automatically that data coming into you. So those consumer experiences would have become insights for people to build their digital platforms. And in that sense, I think now consumer in India is investing, and we need to create a real omni-channel experience for people, which is very easy if you are able to propose that complex data in a simple manner to consumer. So I think the aspirations of Indian consumers are in the center of this hyperactivity and the huge opportunity, which is actually driving excellence in all these spaces. And second is that this whole experience and data should come back to the concept stage. And the net promoter scores and those kind of parameters should not in isolation be studied for any other purpose, which is say for after sales service improvement purpose. But we should bring that data back to the concept stage into the R&D in a very simple manner, so that we are able to then give that feedback to engineers to further improvise. And another thing is that no longer that consumers are the only ones who are talking to products, but now products have also started to talk to each other. And the misconception that if products are connected are smart, I mean, smart is when you incorporate sensors into products. And imagine many people sitting here, if you're buying products of different brands, say in the consumer durable space, air conditioner from a X brand, television from a Y brand, and if they are smart and connected, you're supposed to download individual applications of those brands to be able to control those products. Now, this is a huge challenge because the very next future is about connected and smart homes. And therefore, you need common protocols. If a UPI has existed into payments, why not a UPI should exist into this space? And I'm very happy to share with you that three big guys on the top in the US came together to solve this problem, and they call this protocol Matter. And we have introduced, incidentally, world's first, actually, we call it India's first Matter-enabled AC. So if you have that AC on Matter platform, tomorrow any platform, irrespective of brand, if it is Matter-enabled, can control our AC through their application. That is real empowerment to consumers. So converting these changes and aspirations of consumers and change in technology, we need to converge to solutions which create better experience and hence creates loyalty of consumers in the physical space in particular.
As someone who has been in the industry for a significantly long time, for the new brands or the new players that are entering, what is that one innovation or what is that one area of focus you really expect them to sort of pinpoint and work on?
First is don't expand yourselves too thin, and take one step at a time, create excellence in a particular space, get learnings, and then take the next step. Quite often we get overwhelmed with the huge opportunity in our country, with the scale and the potential which we have, And I would have also in my past made such mistakes of expanding too thin and going into places. But I think you need to first set up excellence, create learning, and bring those learnings into improvisations for the next steps and the footprints which you create. So I would say that cautious optimism should be exercised. And there is a long way to go. So you need to be clear that if at all you are looking at running a marathon, then you can't run a marathon in a manner of a sprint.
And investments in technology, especially for retail company, has to come with a long-term view, right?
Yeah, of course, it should. And again, as I said, resources quite often are limited. The time, the effort, the money, your ability to be able to sustain those investments. So you should have the mindset that you have to create one autonomy and then self sustainability of every individual unit, and then the sum total of that becomes your capability. So I think adoption of technology which is future ready, upgradable, investments into hardware or platforms should be such that they can be upgraded and they are future proof. So the mentality of that L1, which is the lowest bidder, should not be the case. And total cost of ownership should be the criteria. So whenever we invest into technology, into any space, irrespective it is retail, the thought process should be that this is your asset and this is going to remain with you. And rather than only looking at the initial cost, you should look at the total cost of ownership, and then big returns start to happen in the time to come.
Um, One final question: top two trends that you will really be betting on how we look at the retail market maybe 5 years down the line.
Yeah, one would be repetitive. I think the mindset of Indian consumer is changing quite rapidly. The promise of quality, durability is starting to play in their mind, and therefore, one consideration which Indian consumer is starting to make is the total cost of ownership. Products which are highly energy efficient, which are durable and reliable in nature, which provide comfort, convenience, energy efficiency, safety within their residential spaces. I think consumers have started to prefer those products. So the ability of retailers to be able to showcase those products in a very easy manner. Now imagine if products are becoming smart and connected, and if they have started to not only talk between themselves but talk to people also. How will you demonstrate them to the consumer? Because in a store, for example, for air conditioners, you do not connect it with electricity because these are guzzlers. But we have to find smart ways to demonstrate those products to the consumers.
Wonderful. I think we are just in time, and great insights, Manish. It was pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
for asking me to come. It's a pleasure.